Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. Now don't worry, I know you're going to say, Jo, we made this yesterday. So what I want to do is carry on and use the background that I made from yesterday. So I brought this just to remind you, this was yesterday's design. And I used this beautiful stencil called Charming, and we added some ink, and I said I'm going to clean the stencil off in my journal. So I wanted to show you, here is my lovely journal, and I did actually use the ink, and if I remember correctly it was Sahara and Truffle, the Elements inks we used, and I wet the back of the stencil and used the ink and got this beautiful background. So I then added a little bit of extra stencil work on this side. But what I thought today is we'd create a tag, and this is the sort of thing I'm going to show you that I can then add to show you that when we make the clean up, we don't just leave it. It's lovely in there, but I think this tag on there would look fabulous. So if it's all right with you, I'll show you how I created this, and then I'll add this one because it's dry into my lovely journal. I have had such great fun making this journal, and I've got so many lovely people to sign it. Look, there's our Tracy. And what's nice is I've actually got photographs of myself plus people that I've met like Tracy, fabulous people, and some written handwriting, as you know, is so important to me, and a piece of Tracy's work. And for me, it's just, look, there's me and Sarah. Oh, craft along, what can I say? And handwriting, I keep saying this, but it's so important. So as I say, I'm having great fun creating this and getting you lovely ladies that I meet to just either make me a piece of artwork or just write a message in here, because it's just lovely to read through. Look, message from our lovely Anya, so important. So I'm going to put that on the floor next to Eric, who's fast asleep. It's so warm here, bless him, he's fast asleep. Now what I have done is I've cut myself a tag. So I've used the lovely Framelits, the tag die here, and I've cut myself watercolour card. Now look, I do keep, can you see, every scrap of card. Sorry, you will get a bit of reflection off the plastic, sorry. But I really do keep every little bit and use every little bit. So this is our fabulous watercolour card, and I've cut myself that tag, and it's just the right size for my journal. Now, I'm going to do the stamping first. I know, you won't be surprised, will you? But I'm going to stamp in the black, the Nocturne, the VersaFine Clair, but I'm going to add some clear gloss embossing powder. Now, your VersaFine Clair, with it being a slow drying ink, is perfect for your embossing. And I'm going to use the Sunflower one, and I'm going to stamp this one first. I just love the shape of this. Just coming in from the bottom. There, I mean, look, the detail is stunning. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that embossing powder. I could wait and emboss them all together. I'm going to do a little bit more stamping, but I'd rather just make sure I get the embossing powder on that sunflower first, and I'll just pop that back in there. And then we'll come in now. I've got two stamps, and these are off the sunflower heads. So I've got a larger one and a smaller one. And I'm going to stamp the larger one in this corner, followed by a smaller one coming off the page. And we'll go the same. And we've got almost a raised edge on this, don't worry about it. As you know, I love opposite corners. I keep saying, but the detail, when you stamp these at home and you see the absolute stunning detail, they are amazing. So, a little bit more embossing powder there. And a little bit more there. Gentle tap its bottom, quick flick, and then we'll pop that all back in there. You know, and this is magic because I just it all goes back in. It is amazing. The pot never seems to go down, does it? Lid on. We do not want to spill that. So I'm going to use a heat tool. I'm going to switch it on first because I want it to heat up, and then I'll start the embossing. So it will be a little bit noisy, so just bear with me. Just check I've got everything. I mean, I do think that in itself, a monochromatic design like that, if you needed a quick card, you know what? Stick a sentiment here, and that is stunning. But I want to add a little bit more, so I'm going to bring in some Dinkles. Now, a few of you have got in touch and said you're scared of using the Dinkles because they're messy. Now, I know some people, I won't mention any names, lovely lady, can get messy, but we're going to do it the Joe Clean way. So, I don't want to get on my mat, so I'll put a little bit of kitchen roll there. And yes, look, again, not mentioning any names, we've got this beautiful clean kitchen roll. You know who, don't you, lovely lady? Like I say no more. Right, Dinkles, the colours I've gone for are sepia to bring in those brown tones, because I'm thinking of the page we're going on. A little bit of lime green, I just want a bit of contrast. But for my yellowy oranges, mustard seed and yellow. Now again, if you've not used Dinkles before, they are a powder, so I would suggest don't take the lid off, pierce with a pin. And look, I have these little pins, and I do have the colours that coordinate with the colour of Dinkles I'm using. Now, you can spray your work first and then add your Dinkles. Me, I like to do it the other way around, just because that's me, but we all have different ways, so you do whichever method suits you. I've also got my alcohol ink puffer here, just in case I want to actually move the Dinkles around, and I've got spare kitchen roll, so that's all we need. So, the colours, the brown, the sepia, I'm going to add that in the corners. And then the green, I've gone for the leaves. And I'm just tapping the bottom, you don't need a lot. Mustard seed around my sunflower. And again, a bit like salt and pepper, just tapping yellow in the middle. And then in with my spritzer bottle and just give it a good spritz, direct it. Now, depending on how much colour you want where, this is the bit where you can control it. If I think it's too watery, I can take my kitchen roll, look, and dab that, and it will dry. If I think it's not enough colour here, I can add a bit more water. If I want more colour here, I'm thinking I want that to pop a bit more. So let's add a bit more of that bright yellow, and then spritz. And I love this white bit here. I want to try and keep that. So let's maybe move this yellow this way and see if we can almost get some lines going down. So can you see, you can literally control how you want this to go, how much colour. Now, I want to mop that bit up there. Now, I like that. Maybe just a little bit darker in that corner. Don't want to spoil it, right. I'm happy with that. I love this white space here. And again, you can make 2 or 3 of these at a time, you know. So, when you're finished, pop the little pin back in the lid, look. So I'm going to pop mine over there. And I'm just going to dry this now. So, I'm just going to use my drying tool, my heat it tool. Now, I can dry it a little. I don't want to dry it too much because we've got the embossing. So obviously we don't want that to, if you overheat embossing powder, it goes flat. So I'm just dry a little bit with my kitchen roll, look, and then I can come in and just dry a little. And what I find is if I pop that face down, dry from the back, like I say, it's just important you don't overheat that embossing powder. Now, you could actually just go away and have a nice brew and cheeky biscuits. Look at that. See? Nearly clean hands. And just let it dry naturally. But I love that. If you want, you can add water splats, but I'm happy with that. Just to add a little bit more detail, I've got my Kuretake, my clean colour pens. And on the leaves here, look, now these are water-based, so obviously it's fine to add them over the dinkles and water. So I'm just going to add a little bit in the stem, look. And then just to highlight, sorry, you want to know the numbers. Thank you for asking, whoever that was. 46 mid-green, 70 orange, or orange as the boys call it, and 65 mid-brown. The orange, I just want to add a little bit of highlight round here, just to deepen that a little. And that's what I love, is you've got this lovely background, but you can then enhance it a bit more if you want. And then with the brown, I just want to add a little bit of grounding. Now again, water-based, so I'm just going to I've got my Lavinia brush here, and I'll just activate that and drag that down a little, just so it fits in better. And it just comes to life a little bit more. White, you know I love my pen. So we could add some little white highlights, look, a little bit here. Just a couple on here. And then on the leaves, again, we don't want to overcook it, but just those little, and again, it will show up more when it's dry. And then finally for this one, I felt white splatters were really good. So again, a good shake. If you're happy with it like this and you don't want to add the Posca, you leave them off. I'm just going to add a few, again, over the sunflowers mainly. And we'll just mop that up, keep my mat nice and clean, which seems funny using a clean inky binky, but there we go. So look at that, and again, you could make 2 or 3 of these. If I bring, just need to lean down, sorry Eric. If I bring in my finished one, look, I've just added some of our beautiful craft yarn and a sticker sentiment. So you could make a few of these. I love this corner detail. So I'll pop that one over there because that's another one I could add to my journal. So I'm thinking of popping this one here. I've put some red liner tape on the back. And I'm just going to add our Bippity Boppity glue. So I'm just going to take, it's a bit of the, you know, I like my belt and braces. I like to cover all eventualities. So I like to put some of the lovely, really sticky red liner tape, but then also our Bippity Boppity glue. And I'm going to add this. I'm quite happy if they stick out a little bit at the top. So I'll pop that there. And again, just hold it down. The Bippity Boppity glue dries clear, so if a little bit comes out, look, I've got some there. Don't worry, it will dry clear. So I'm thinking maybe a couple more sentiment stickers. Just, I'm thinking on the other side. So let's have, I'm brave sometimes, I like that. Because I am brave sometimes, not all the time. So I think we could put these in the middle. Look, I'm brave. We've got a little space there. And that's not quite straight. That's better. Live and learn. I like that. So remember, with your sentiment stickers, you get the 3 different colour groups. You get one sheet of white, one of black, and then one of this lovely vintage. So I'm brave sometimes. Live and learn. And I think it's got to be sunshine because these most gorgeous sunflowers definitely make me smile. And that just fills that lovely space there. So, black fine liner pen. And I'm just going to give them, now again, you can do straight lines, you can do wiggly lines. And that goes with the word smile. Now, I don't want to overdo this page, but what I'm thinking is I've got my lovely leaf stickers and I think the colours go really well. So maybe if we start with a smaller leaf at the top, and I'm hoping you can see okay. Now, it could be you might want to stamp something on this side. I don't want to take away from this because I love this. So I'm thinking just a couple of leaves sort of falling down. The hardest bit is choosing, you know what I'm like. So let's have, if I have 2 there and then I can put a 3rd there, I think that'll look nice. I like this one. And then I can put 2 here. So and they can go larger as we get nearer the bottom of the page. So I've got another one here. So I'm thinking that there. And then my larger one, I like this one here because it's got, I'm thinking the colours, the yellows, that little bit of orange and the green. Peel that off. And again, I just pop them on my scissors just to see. And I think that, I just need one on this page, don't I? Maybe just one at the top here to tie the 2 together. So let's have a look. I need a small one, that one I think. Although it's a bit large, I like this one, the red one. So again, pop it on my scissors. That's too far away. I quite like that because it looks as though it's just coming. See that? It looks as though it's just coming away from there. And I think that ties the 2 together. So some little white splats. Again, just to tie the 2 pages together. Sorry, I had to stretch across, you're very rude. So I'll put some splats on there. And then just on this. And the splats go lovely on top of the stickers. Right across the page. So that's my lovely completed page, and it all started off with that clean up from yesterday's, and I've got myself another tag, the one that we created today. So if you're somebody who struggles with the Dinkle powders, please have a go at that way. Just see if it makes it, if you're any happier. If you want to get messy, by all means, you get messy. But I just wanted to show you that there is another way of almost being in control of them, and they don't have to be that messy. I say that. So, from Jo with clean hands, I'm off. You know what I'm going for, brewing cheeky biscuit. Enjoy the rest of your week. You take care. Have fun. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.